Hello there, everyone. How you doing today? I hope you're all well. Today we're going into r/entitled people, where there's a ton, like a ton, of entitled people. Like the entitlement is insane. If you enjoy these videos, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and hit that notification bell. Doing these 4 things help the channel perform spectacularly. So now that you've gone and done that, let's get started, shall we? Entitled neighbor decided that my bricks actually belong to the city, so they could just take them. Some things are just hard to fathom. Our house is on the downslope. On the front patio sits below the street. Even though we live in a metro area, our streets do not have sidewalks, just the street and a dirt area between the road and our fence. This area between actually belongs to the city, but it's usually the property owners are required to maintain it. Last summer, I had just decided to give it a small makeover and had pulled up the bricks that had been framing the plant area and stacked them against the fence while I decided what exactly I was going to do. One evening during my time, family and I were sitting around our fire table out on the front patio, enjoying a nice evening. You know how that goes. My sons and their significant others had driven over to visit us, and one had parked on the side of the road in front of our fence. We were all sitting around chatting and having a nice time. I was sitting facing the upslope and happened to notice the shape of somebody walking by, but between the car and our fence. Now, that's not a big deal. I just had dug up the plants that had been there. But it was a little weird because this is a little tight, and there was more room on the street side. I didn't think too much about it, but until I saw someone do it again. It's not a busy street, so there really was no need to go that way. I thought something was off because they had to deliberately make the choice to take a narrow path instead of the easier path. So I decided to see what was going on. I walked up the stairs and looked at the area between the car and the fence. I was stunned to see that almost all of the bricks were gone. I looked down at the street and there was a young 20-something boy riding away on a bicycle with some of my bricks in his baskets. "What the hell?" I yelled at him, and he stopped and looked back. I walked over to him to ask what was going on. The biker is the biker. Entitled mom is entitled mom. Me is me. What are you doing with my bricks?
"They were just sitting there, so I thought I would take them."
Keep in mind, he had to park his bike and walk in between the car and fence to reach them, and 6 people were sitting 20 feet away, 3 facing his way. Those bricks belong to me. Why would you think you can just take them? That's stealing.
"I'm not stealing. They were on land owned by the city."
Technically true.
"And so they must be free to everyone."
No, that's not how it works. It may be city land, but I'm required to maintain it. And even if they were the city's, you would still be stealing the bricks from them.
"Well, I was told differently and decided I could have them."
Stop trying to justify stealing. I need you to take those bricks on the bike to where you got them and go and get all the others you stole right now. This conversation repeated many times as he kept defending his actions, and it took over 10 minutes to convince him he had to return his bricks. He seemed so confused, looking at me with big, sad eyes. They were just sitting there in front of your house. So of course they're not yours. So I can just take them. Why are you accusing me of stealing? For a minute, I felt like I kicked a puppy. Then I snapped out of it and explained again to him exactly how the land use works. How it's wrong to take anything that doesn't belong to him. And once again, demanded he return all of my bricks. I watched him take them off his bike, then ride down the block to gather the rest, one load at a time, and restack them in front of the fence. I was steaming. I've never, in all my life, 60 plus years, come across a person so ignorant in how the world works. And I gather from what his roommates told him there are more of them out there who think this way. By the way, it turns out they're college students renting a house. I feel so very sorry for the landlord and teachers. TLDR, a college kid decided that he could steal my bricks just because they were sitting in view. Now that is a dumbass. Anyway, on to the next story, shall we? Remember to like and subscribe, or I'm stealing your kneecaps and drinking Dr. Pepper out of them. Aye. The dumbest, and I mean dumbest, criminal ever in the history of mankind. Hello, folks. It's been a very long time since I've made a post. Life has been overall quiet, minus this one event that happened over the last 16 or so months. I'm not giving specifics, as this would be easy to look up, and I do not want to dox myself or anyone else involved. During a family vacation, myself and my wife, a girlfriend, brother-in-law, and his wife had been on the road in a 3-car convoy headed to a beach town that also hosts a racetrack that has regular drift events, which is a huge hobby of my wife, girlfriend, and I. And just to be clear, the story means girlfriend as in it's a girl that's a friend. It's different in some places, but he's not cheating on his wife. Just to be clear. Okay, back to the story, which is a huge hobby of my wife, girlfriend, and I, as well as my brother-in-law, although he's relatively new to the sport. About 6 or 10 hours down the road, we decided to hop off the highway and grab dinner at a ma and pa diner, which was absolutely lovely. Afterwards, we headed over to a very large gas station, which not only has your typical gas pumps, but the high-flow truck pumps for diesel, as we had 2-ton F-Series Fords and a 250-350 dually. Both trucks were pulling trailers, with one being an enclosed 2-car trailer and full shop on board, and the other is a single-car trailer with S chassis and 8 spare wheels strapped to the rack. Our third vehicle was a Ford Escape, so it was regulated to the normal gas pumps. Brother-in-law was driving the Escape, while father-in-law drove the F-350 and I drove the F-250. Now that I've set the stage, I can give you the reason we're here. While fueling up the trucks, 2 men approached us asking about the S chassis on my trailer, if it was for sale, how much, and being extremely pushy. After telling them no for the 4th time, the leader of the 2 dimwits decided to say rather loudly, "That's fine, we'll just take the whole fucking truck," and pulled a firearm, while his lackey pulled a butterfly knife, which, side note, who the hell carries a butterfly knife? He wasn't even a weeb. Further context, the way this gas station is set up, there are 6 or so high-flow diesel pumps, about 30 meters from the regular gas pumps on the side of the building, which makes the store brother-in-law's pulled into the pump closest to us and vice versa. Hearing the noise, father-in-law and brother-in-law, they heard the commotion, as well as the wife and girlfriend who were in the truck I was standing against. Now that I found myself in plenty of hairy situations, doing repossession as part of my business, so this is not my first time having a firearm pulled on me, but I'll be lying if I didn't say fight or flight had kicked in. I raised my hands to just above my shoulders, saying loudly enough to be heard by everyone, but not overly loud as to be screaming, "Look, man, I don't want any trouble, and there's a baby in the truck. I can't let you just take it." Thankfully, this worked, as our gunman's lackey approached the truck to peer in the rear window to confirm. However, was unable to do so due to the 5% tinting on the vehicle. Wife has a prescription for tint due to migraines and hyperlight sensitivity. While our henchman was attempting to suss out my ruse, father-in-law had slipped around the back of the vehicle, carrying his government-issued 40 cal pistol, as brother-in-law joined him, also carrying his government-issued 9mm. At the same time, the wife and girlfriend circled the front of the truck, getting out on the passenger side, carrying a 5.7 handgun and a .45 ACP handgun. I'd love to say when commands were yelled I did some ninja stuff and took our would-be robber to the ground, but I did not. The 5.7 wife was holding was actually my firearm, which had been locked in the dash. Also, to elaborate, both father-in-law and brother-in-law worked for the Alphabet Gang in Quantico and Langley. Thankfully, both would-be robbers immediately disarmed themselves and hit the ground, not trying to outrun a bullet. Apparently, mother-in-law had started calling the police, as father-in-law stepped away from the other truck, and the police pulled up within 90 seconds of our detainment of these crooks. The reason I'm posting this in Entitled People is the leader of these buffoons was still demanding I sell him the S chassis on the trailer, as he was stuffed into the back of a police car, and his attorney asked closely to a dozen times if I would sell the car during the pre-trial and such. Our would-be robbers both took plea deals, with the henchman receiving 18 months, followed by 5 years of probation, as this was his first time ever getting in trouble. However, our ringleader and the guy who absolutely had to have this car received a 9-year sentence, as it was his second felony involving a firearm. I believe he received a 10-year probation upon release. In closing, if you're traveling with nice stuff, never let your guard down. For our last story, we've got entitled couple want us to change the weather. So I work as a waitress at a 5-star hotel in Greece for the summer, and I've heard tons of crazy demands over the years. This happened last season around July of 2023, and it's not actually my story. It happened at the reception desk. It got spread around. So in Greece, the last few years, the temperature in the summer can reach up to 40 Celsius. We get a lot of tourists from northern countries that both love this weather, but it's also way too hot. The week of the incident happened to be windy and raining lightly sometimes. There was this couple who low-key complained about it. When I happened to have them in my section of the restaurant, I would greet them good morning, and they would also always answer with, "Yeah, a cloudy one," or "Not sunny though," and things like that. Things like that. It was only a few days later that I heard from a receptionist they went up to the front desk and complained about the weather. According to her words, it went kinda like this. Entitled man is EM, EL is entitled lady, and RC is receptionist. Hello, how may I help you?
We have been here for 3 days and there's no sun.
Yes, the weather is a bit cloudy those days, but it should be around 35 Celsius today and tomorrow.
We came to Greece for the sun, so could you please do something about it?
The lady was nice at first, unlike her husband, but that quickly went away when the receptionist looked confused about her request and offered them to use the indoor pool instead if they didn't like the weather.
No, we came for the sun, so fix it.
Yeah, can't you turn it on or something?
I'm sorry, but I can't control the weather.
We paid to be in the sun, so if there's no sun, we want a refund.
Yes, we want a refund and a room in the top floor to be closer to the sun when you fix it.
The poor receptionist was dumbfounded at the time. I burst out laughing when she told us about their requests. I apologize, but we can't upgrade you to another suite at this moment, as we're fully booked this week.
Didn't you hear my wife? We want one of those rooms to be closer to the sun when you turn it on.
The man pointed at the floor with the suites that had a private pool, and obviously were more expensive. I'm sorry, but an upgrade to a deluxe suite is not possible, and neither is changing the weather at will. She tried to be polite as she could, but I don't think they got the hint. Good thing her colleague got their manager there to handle the situation. The couple was still mad no one would turn on the sun, as they said, but they stopped complaining when the manager offered them a free meal to one of our a la carte restaurants as compensation. In my opinion, they were really that stupid or just wanted free stuff. To be honest, many people complain just to get free upgrades and so on. so we can't always tell if they're serious and such. And that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed the stories we had collected for you. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Hasta la pasta. I punch you. Boop. Actually, no, I'm not going to punch you. Hang on. Boop. Fuck, my camera's not working. Okay. I boop you. Boop. There we go.